Good afternoon. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. We wanted to bring you some details and some data about a report released by the Transportation Security Administration. We all know them as TSA. It's how you get through airports and airport checkpoints. And that's exactly what this report has to deal with. Is actually the number of guns that were found in people's carry-on luggage. So think about it. You're headed on a trip, you go to the airport, you're going to go through security, and that's when these guns are found. It was a record year, unfortunately, for TSA, but I guess this shows, this program is working. The checkpoints are working. You can see by this graphic here in 2023, there were 6,737 firearms, guns found in carry-on bags. That is a new record, found at over 265 different airports. One of the concerning statistics here, if you look at this chart, is you can see by year it's been increasing every year. You can see obviously the COVID year in 2020, not a lot of travel there. But look at the lower right-hand corner, 93% of the guns that were found by TSA were actually loaded. That is obviously a concern. We're going to welcome in Jessica, and I believe Jessica is the last name Mail. I hate to mispronounce it. Jessica.
That's okay. It's Maylee.
Maylee, thank you very much. Jessica Maylee is with the TSA. She represents the Great Lakes region. Jessica, I'm sure everybody watching this, and as soon as I saw these numbers, the first thing that came to mind was, how does somebody go to the airport, go to the checkpoint, and oops, I forgot I had a gun with me? Because we're assuming the overwhelming majority of these, and maybe we shouldn't make assumptions, these aren't people who were planning on trying to hijack a plane. What stories does the TSA hear when people get stopped at a checkpoint with a gun?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the way you summarized it, it happens dozens of times across the country every day. It really is surprising, I think, for a lot of people when we talk about this issue, because, yeah, overwhelmingly, these are people who generally follow the rules around carrying a concealed weapon. And I think they just forget that the rules are different when they come to an airport, and they just aren't thinking. That's no excuse. The penalties are the same. The risk is the same. We really want to get that point across. But yeah, you're right. These usually are not concealed, or hidden in any way. Sometimes they are, but usually they're quite easy to find sitting in the bag. And and they just say, "Oh my gosh, I forgot I had that in my bag."
Is it the kind of thing, and I'm not, both men and women do this? Is it women forgetting they have it in their purse? Is it men forgetting, or men or women forgetting they have it in their briefcase? What is maybe the most general way that this is found, or these weapons are found?
A lot of the times it's someone who took a bag from another trip, or a bag that was half packed, and they forgot what was in it. So maybe I took that bag hunting, or I took that bag in my car, and I'm just going on my trip real quick, and I grab it out of my car, and I never even looked at it before I started packing. And that kind of goes to one of our big tips that we give, which is start with an empty bag. It really prevents you from bringing any prohibited item, not just a firearm, but anything that's going to get stopped by TSA. Because when you're actually putting that item in the bag, you're thinking very seriously about, do I mean to bring this on my trip or not? When you grab that half pack bag from your last trip, you really don't remember what's inside of it.
And I imagine when this happens, there's some pretty serious protocols that have to go into place, whether it's, and I'm going to let you walk us through what does happen. Somebody has forgotten they have a gun in a bag. They put it through the x-ray. The incredible technicians with TSA, they find the gun. What happens?
Yeah. So all activity on the lane stops. So we call police. We don't even move that bag out of the x-ray belt until police arrive. So I really want to get that point across as well. These are busy times. A lot of people are traveling. That really delays not just you, but everyone in line behind you, because now we've got to reroute all those people to one of the open lanes so they can keep moving. So incredibly disruptive to operations. But yeah, police come, they take possession of the weapon. They talk to the passenger. They can make a decision. Are they going to write a ticket or do an arrest, or, they have the local law enforcement responsibility. TSA does not make arrests. TSA does not confiscate the weapon. So Cleveland police take over from there. But yeah, you will get a federal civil penalty from the TSA, and that will come, weeks or months later in the mail. It's a back and forth process, but it can be very expensive in the thousands of dollars. And again, really just a delay that day, because you're usually in a rush to make your flight. And this is a big time thing that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and let's talk about those penalties, the civil penalties and the fines. Upwards of what? I mean, this is no small fine.
Yeah, so again, it depends on the circumstances. We were kind of talking about whether the weapon was concealed or not. Is it loaded or not? Is this your first offense? There's a lot of things we take into account, but it can be as high as $15,000. So it can be really expensive. The good thing is, we don't want to see the people making that mistake twice. So that's really the goal behind that. Is we really want to remind people. And the other thing I want to emphasize is if you are a TSA pre-check member, you will lose your pre-check privileges for 5 years. And again, I think that's something where people who travel a lot get really used to that benefit. And this one simple mistake can really take you out of that lane for a while.
Yeah, that is an expensive mistake, an expensive oops, I guess we can call it. But what people may not realize is that you can actually travel with a firearm if you do it the right way. A lot of people are going to say, "What? You can't travel. You can't ever check in for a flight and have a weapon go with you." That's not the case. Walk us through how you do it correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. So the gun needs to be unloaded in a locked, hard-sided case. Ammunition needs to be separate. And then the key is you declare it to the airline. So it's going to go with your checked baggage. It's never going to go through the checkpoint. It's never going to go in the cabin of the airplane. But if you do have a legitimate need to bring a gun to your trip, maybe you're going on a hunting trip or something like that, we understand. It just needs to be declared to the airline. We've had people pack their guns correctly and then not declare it. And TSA also scans checked baggage. And you can also get a fine for that. So make sure you tell the airline you have a firearm. They give you a card to sign. And you're doing it all correctly. If you have questions, go to our website, tsa.gov, because we do have all the explanations on how to pack it safely, and we know you want to do it the right way.
Jessica Maley, we certainly appreciate it. We get these numbers every year, but I think this may be the first time I've ever been able to interview anyone with the TSA, because this is just a fascinating, how the heck does this kind of thing happen? So we appreciate your knowledge on it. Thank you for joining us today. Truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take care. That's going to wrap it up for us. We have 3.5 hours of news coming up at 3 o'clock, just a little under an hour away on Channel 19. We'll have more on this topic and all of the day's breaking news and weather. Remember, today is a first alert weather day. We've been having some wind issues all over the area, and watch out for what's coming to Cleveland come this weekend, maybe our first real snow of the season. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV app